Hello everybody, this is SWTOR Kamikaze, and today we're going to be going over the Focus Guardian. Now this video is made to help the new players to the Focus role, or even just the Jedi Guardian in general. So I will be making a few things to note from the discipline path, but please go over all of it and to read over, because you'll likely come across something to help you come up with your own personal rotation based off, instead of using the very basic rotation I have here, which is really not the best, but it's a good starting point. I will be going over the talents here, which utility points is what the game uses. I will also be going over the basic rotation and just go over a few tips for you guys. So to get started here, it'll be these skillful talents here, which I have Second Wind, reduces your resolute cooldown by 30 seconds, and it heals you for 10% when you use it. Resolute is essentially your CC breaker. Like if you're stunned, slow, or knocked down, Resolute will break you out of it. I also have Debilitation, which immobilizes your target for 3 seconds when you use your Blade Barrage. And I also have Defiance, which generates 4 focus whenever you are CC'd. From stun, immobilize, sleep, knock down. A good substitution, if there's something you don't like there, would be Trailblazer, which increases the damage output from your Cyclone Slash by 25%. Under Masterful, I have Purifying Sweep, which causes your Force Sweep and Vigilant Thrust to sunder your targets for 45 seconds, which decreases their armor rating by 20%. I also have Pulse, which is my own personal preference, which reduces the cooldown of Force Stasis by 15 seconds. This is useful a bit for PvP, duels, that kind of stuff. For Stasis is a stun. It's really a channeled stun, but it is still essentially a stun, which deals some damage, able give you 3 focus over the duration, and it is usable while moving. Now, a good substitution for those who like PvE, especially if you're around the ads that loves to slow you, would be Gather Strength here, which whenever your movement is impaired, you gain a 10% damage bonus towards your next ability that consumes focus. It stacks up to 5 times, so that's a total of 50% damage bonus increase, and it only lasts for 15 seconds. Under Heroic, I have Ardent Advocate. I use this for all 3 specs, because Force Sleep will enable your next Dispatch or Rolling Blade to be used against a target with any percentage of health, and duration will last 15 seconds. The reason why this is useful is because both Dispatch and Rolling Blade is normally only usable on your opponent that has 30% or under for their health. In this case, First Sleep will allow you to use the ability regardless of their health percentage, even if they have full health at 100%. I have Through Peace, which reduces the cooldown of focus defense by 30 seconds. That's useful as focus defense has would normally have a 2-minute cooldown as a defensive ability. This would reduce it down to a minute and a half. I also use, for legendary, I use Daunting Presence. This is useful for this spec as it increases the Saber Reflect by 2 seconds. So instead of 3 seconds of damage reflect, you now have 5 seconds. That's my personal preference for that. But if 2 seconds is not long enough for you, a good substitution would be Jedi Warden, which reduces the cooldown of Force Push and Awe by 15 seconds. And it also allows your Saber Throw to immobilize the target for 3 seconds. As for some combos or things to note from the from specking only, as a reminder, if you're spec for it, Force Sweep will sunder your target for 45 seconds, reducing their armor by 20%. Force Sleep and Zealous Sleep will cause your next Blade Storm to have 5% increased damage, and it generates 1 focus instead of consuming focus. The Force Sleep and Zealous Sleep will also cause your next Force Sweep or Force Burst within the 20 seconds after using it to have a increase to critical hit. Actually, not increase, it just causes it to critically hit. Combat Focus, as well as Force Exhaustion, they will cause your next Force Sweep or Focus Burst to have a 15% increase to the damage, and will have no cost. So no focus cost. Concentrated Slice will enable Repost, and it will also beat your target for a 5% increase to your melee damage, which lasts for 45 seconds. Now for your AoEs, you will have Force Sweep, but you will also have Cyclone Slash. Those are your 2 AoE abilities, and from there you'll have a single target rotation. This is rather long, so bear with me. Starting off, you will use your Force Leap. Following that, you will use Sundering Strike in order to sunder the target, but will also gain 5 focus. Blade Storm will be after that as a proc, so you'll see a glow around the ability. From there, you'll use Force Exhaustion, and then after that, you will use Saber Throw only to gain, so that way you gain 3 focus. And then from there, you'll use Focus Burst as a proc, followed by Dispatch, also a proc. From there, you would use, depending on how your focus is, you would either use Sundering Strike to gain 5 focus, or you'll be moving on for Concentrated Slice, followed by Force Sweep, and then Blade Barrage. And then from after your Blade Barrage, you'll repeat everything, replacing Force Sweep with Zealous Leap. So as a representation of this, just use First Leap from Sundering Strike, using Blade Storm, Force Exhaustion, Focus Burst, Dispatch, Saber Throw, Concentrated Slice, First Sweep, Use Sundering Strike followed by Riposte. I'm going over this rather quickly, so my cooldowns are not necessarily the best. So a quick representation of the rotation with a couple some mess ups, but the idea, you'll be using Sundering Strike as well as Saber Throw for your focus regen, as well as then using everything else as both of which will also deal damage, a little bit of damage at the least, as you go through rotation. You could play around, find what works better. Timing, of course, is everything. Is not really too important in this, but it's still good to have a good timing down with your rotation, so you can don't rush and mess up something somewhere. Now, pressing Y, you'll come up with your legacy here. I have currently under global unlocks and other. With sub tips here, I would recommend at least one character in your legacy to go up to max in your as a light side attunement or alignment. Just that way you can get the Unity ability. So you have an extra defense spell while you're out soloing, or if you're out with a friend, you have your companion out, and you get to a tight spot, you can use Unity to have, so that way your damage is reduced by 50% for 15 seconds. So that's 50% reduced damage intake. That's as long as your companion's out. For convenience, I recommend getting Legacy Fleet, Legacy Travel, and your improved priority transport personal starship all to max out. The reason being is because this will allow you to use all three of them, travel all over the place all day, and none of them will have a cooldown. The only cooldown essentially for all three of them will simply be the cast time to port. From there, I also recommend getting tactical markers in case you end up being the group or even operation leader. If you're in a flashpoint or an operation, using tactical markers, you will be able to mark out where each role is going to be at before the before the boss fights. I also recommend getting improved mounting. This allows you to get onto your mount while you're moving. It's actually rather addicting because I've been on a separate account that did not have improved mounting, and I did not like that. I honestly enjoy being able to run while mount. It saves at least a couple seconds. From ship unlocks, really you do not need anything from ship unlocks. As everything is available on the fleet, except I do enjoy having two things from ship unlocks, and that is both the operations training dummy and the Warzone training dummy. I am currently on my ship, using this video on my operations dummy, and then behind me is my Warzone dummy. They are useful for checking out your damage output uh, before any ops or war zones to see where you fare. And it's great for finding rotations that you like. Anyway, this is Xander Kamtazi heading out, and welcome to playing a Guardian for the focus role, and I wish you luck.